не з точністю до навпаки.
Ні, ну буває. Ну, ми ж не можемо сказати, що це 100%. Да? Часто проблема на цій стороні.
50 на 50.
Більшості, ні, більшості, так. Причому інколи навіть свідомо, а інколи абсолютно не свідомо, просто не розуміємо.
Okay, Olena, two more words.
Тільки буквально кілька слів. В рамках проекту «Права Україна» видається бюлетень, і ми плануємо наступне число вісника. По-русски, да, лучше? Следующий выпуск бюллетеня посвятить земельным вопросам. И мы обещали, что мы ничего не извратим и не перекрутим. Мы приглашаем всех подавать ваши статьи, если вот именно то, что касается разъяснительной работы. Вот. Здесь, пожалуйста, бюллетени и тут несколько моих друзей.
Okay.
Ну, там есть,
Before we all leave the table, I would like to ask just a little more help. First of all, we're about 16, 20 people here, but this is not everyone who should be involved in this conversation. Who do you recommend yet to be involved in a further dialogue about land reform?
villagers for sure.
Will send maybe our proposition.
Okay, wonderful. So one follow-up request from us will be to tell us who should be involved in a larger conversation, in a larger room perhaps, or in a virtual conversation, or in an expert conversation. That's one. Second, I put together some of the recurrent themes and recurrent recommendations, but I would like to ask for your review now and help me with finalizing those. That again we will be sharing with you in a written format, but just to make sure that I leave the room with the same mindset that you're leaving with. So let me try summarize. One key point was that the reform is needed. Is there agreement on that? More specifically, the moratorium will eventually have to be lifted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we're not protiv. Two, this being said, it cannot be in a rushed process, but it has to be in a sequenced, well thought out, and build the fundamentals for the land market before creating a market. Is that correct?
And maybe this sequence of certain steps should be taken into account.
Okay.
To start with, to proceed, to complete the
Okay.
process.
Number three, which came often in this conversation, that it's indispensable that there's both domestic input from those who are impacted most, as well as external pressure, advice, watching. And both are important at the same time. The two cannot work without each other. Is that correct? And a footnote here, I would add that even though there is no European Union requirement here specifically, it is part of what Europe is looking already. Okay. We had talked about, and thanks to Pani Natalia bringing up the issue of specific groups or specific territories in the country which are one pilot or have special needs and importance.
And exactly Autonomous Republic of Crimea, first and foremost.
Okay, I'm totally with you on that, but I want to give the room for potentials. There
But
may
I
be,
can substantiate
but there
this.
may be, but it didn't bring up. There may be other groups that have special needs or special interests to be taken into account in the reform process.
And in the draft law too.
Yes.
Why the specific regions but not specific type of land? maybe recreation areas, because I don't think we need
Сельхозземель это не так
prime,
касается, на мой
Ні, не
взгляд.
тільки. Ну тут же зовсім інша справа, те, про що я кажу. Не
Рынок
враховані.
земель это все-таки...
Okay. And just the final, and then it's your to add or remove. My final note is that, as we agreed that, it seems to me that there's a formulating agreement that, a joint stepped-up effort from the donor community, from the civil society community, is necessary and could help to advance to mend the potential obstacles or pitfalls or problems of the land reform. I don't see this happening before the law is adopted, but the urgency is there, and from our side, really next step is that, besides obviously circulating this memoranda that comes out from this meeting, and maybe fine-tuning some of the parts of the work with the ICPS, but most important is to have from our side a draft call for application, which we would like you, one, to comment, and then two, be aboard on picking the right campaign or campaigns or programs that helps advance. And it would be a civil society program, and it's packed, and USAID unite her role to make sure it's happening in the shortest possible time. Okay? What else would you like to add to the concluding
Maybe to
points?
mention specifically the message about invigorating working with media as a special target group and grassroots level stakeholders too. Not only research community, decision makers, but also coming to the bottom of the process.
Okay. These thoughts and the specific ideas you had, and we took note of, three of us actually. We will make sure we'll get into this call for application as specific eligibility criteria or need. And again, when the draft is ready, we will circulate it among you. Okay?
I was thinking that we didn't talk about the internet resource at all as a specific thing. We did develop, actually, I forgot to, but it is, I need some other, maybe next time we present what we have thought about, the kind of, we invented reform media.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
And this, I suppose in such already, not only environment, but in such a process which you have started, and we happily and very willingly and enthusiastically participate in, it would be already possible to quickly use it. Because it is also about the structuring of the inputs, and it is also about possibility of seeing a picture like in Wikipedia, but having a possibility to make an input. And this is something that doesn't exist on any of the reforms.
Okay.
Just maybe two minor points, they were discussed here. First one is related to the point that the reform needs to be well thought, and it's not like one night reform. And here the vital thing was said that the clear vision of the reform is still missing. So, and I think it could be a room for civil society engagement, actually to make this vision and to formulate it and to make raise awareness about this. And second thing is about interest groups. We were talking a lot about interest groups, and it's important, maybe I will repeat once again, to understand that these are not enemies. These are people with their own interests, and it's important to recognize their interests and to work with them. And here is also important to recognize that there are interest groups with different interest groups. In what way that some of them are more dispersed, and therefore it's harder to reach to them. And those are actually those villagers And here could be also room for civil society to try to reach those people that have less capacity to organize and to lobby government for reform.
Okay.
How do you see continuation?
Any other thoughts? Okay, just in terms of the process from our side. We will circulate a meeting memo trying to incorporate everything that's been said or the kind of recurrent things and most important things. We consider you and those who are not in the room, but you will recommend us who should be as a sort of an epistemic community dealing with this issue. And there are structural and non-structural forms of this, and we like to opt for non-structural ways of dialoguing in a sort of a cloud format. We have PACT has a commitment to support one or two or a handful national campaigns initiatives that address civil society initiatives that address those critical issues that you mentioned here. And we would like to, again, we would like to select these in the nearest future. And who they will be are those who you will advise us to do. Okay? In the meanwhile, if you have specific thoughts, ideas, requests, how with our limited resources, and I'm not talking about the financial resources only, but we are not the experts of the land reform once again. We would, but do communicate it to us. We will have an ongoing communication from this point on this land sector. We don't necessarily want to dominate this, so whoever has potential thoughts or specific projects, obviously should be the ones who's making the initial calls. How does that sound?